face. Can I have a gun now?
The GM was like, absolutely, you smash it open on the wall. And it was like the best feeling. Like, wow, I thought of that on my own. I did it right. I rolled well. And that happened in the game.
Seth, how do you do this? We've been playing this game for 30 minutes and I already want to cry.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening. This is the first episode of Not Your Average Legends, the role-playing podcast. Here for our opening discussion. My name is Jonathan. This is Seth.
Hello.
And this is Tyler.
Hello.
And the way we're going to be doing this is we're going to be having an opening discussion among the three of us, talking about things like why we're doing this podcast, things we like about role-playing, but also going forward, other aspects of role-playing, and kind of squashing some stereotypes along the way that people have with role-playing games. We'll also be including a play session with the three of us, as well as with our wives, in an original campaign written by Seth here, who will also be the game master.
Yep.
And we will also have a post-game discussion, and with all of us for the most part. And we'll also have some guests along the way that aren't in the campaign, but have some stuff to say and have been role-playing for a long time. So let's get started with, of course, why are we doing this podcast? What is the goal of this podcast? Would you like to comment on that, Seth?
Sure. So I was thinking about that, why I wanted to do it in the podcast, and the first thing I thought of was because it sounded fun. I think the biggest thing for me, the reason I want to do the podcast and the reason I want to play role-playing games is I love storytelling. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I've actually written 2 full novels.
Wow.
Can you shamelessly pump your product here for a moment?
I cannot, because I used a pen name.
Jack Smith.
That's fair.
But I've done that. I've worked on making video games. I've written music. I love telling stories and whatever. With a role-playing game, you get to tell a story, and not only do you have, like, I have a idea of this world, a story in mind, but I love the collaborative storytelling. So, like, I have this story that I want to tell, and then all the other players come in and they start doing things, and kind of the world gets created on the fly in a certain respect, because everyone has a way they think it should go, and everyone has things they want the characters to do, and it changes your story, and you actually get a better story. And whereas, like, if you want to write a book, it takes years to actually get it done, and you may never get it anywhere because you have to have it edited, and you have to have it published and all that stuff. But with this, you actually get that satisfaction of telling a story, being with your friends. There's a lot of camaraderie with it, and you learn a lot, and that's why I wanted to do it. And I figured we have so much fun playing that why not record it and let people listen to it? Maybe there's an audience for it, and they want to hear a story too.
Absolutely. Would you like to comment on something like that, Tyler?
Yeah, I think to what Seth said, the collaborative storytelling of it, it's great. I feel like when I'm listening to music or watching movies, sometimes something cool happens. And my first thought is, wouldn't it be cool if this happened, or if this was said next? I think about what I would put there next. But it doesn't really matter in that context. You can't do anything about it.
Yep.
Meanwhile, with Seth has, the structure of a story, but it slowly changes based upon what we do, so it has an effect. When some, big event happens, and we think, hey, wouldn't it be cool if my character reacted this way, my character did this or tried this, in the world and what happens next is shaped off of that. And I find for myself, sometimes there's something you want to do, and you kind of do it, and you get more focused on, well, what am I going to do next? How would I react to this? And sometimes you lose out on all the cool storytelling moments the other players are contributing. When you go back and you can listen to it, I find myself paying less attention to me, because I was there. I already did and said what I wanted to do. And hearing other people and go, wow, that was really cool that they said that, or wow, that was a really cool way to handle this that I wouldn't have thought of. So I like being able to go back and just kind of see the story unfold from everyone's perspective.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's funny, I actually wish we had recorded some of our earlier games, because I don't know if you remember when we played the last game, your wife actually kind of, she hijacked the story almost, because we had this, it was a small subplot that was intentionally there, But the way it happened, everyone was like, no, it was her child was missing. And that was like supposed to be a subplot, but everyone was like, no, we're going to get her child back. And we spent several sessions going and doing that.
So yeah, we've...
Great character moments as well.
Yep.
Because that culminated in the death of one of the characters in
Yep.
the group. It was a big moment based off of someone else's idea that you just kind of worked in.
Yep.
And it completely changed the campaign.
Right. So we've been role-playing together for a little while. We've developed sort of a player GM chemistry between all of us. And so yeah, we've been playing together for a while, and that's another thing we're pretty confident about with playing again with a whole new story. We know we have a lot of fun doing it, especially with an original story we can all add to, see how it evolves over time. So yeah, that's part of the goal of the podcast also would be that for people who have never played a role-playing game before, what do you expect? Because there's a lot of stigmas and stereotypes involved with role-playing games. I mean, the first one we can squash right away is, I mean, we're very... I don't want to say normal people. No.
Squash that now.
Yeah, exactly. We're not, Wizard Slayer 515 sitting in his mom's basement playing.
Not that there's anything wrong with Wizard Slayer 515.
Wizard Slayer 515. He didn't mean that. Please, just hang in there.
Yeah, just like and subscribe. Lizard Slayer. Yeah, Lizard Slayer. Wizard Slayer
Wizard
515.
515. Wizard 515. Gizzard. Any variation. Just keep listening. We love you.
Keep
yeah, absolutely. Games.
I mean, he wasn't going to stop because we made fun of him.
But we are, we go to work. We're married. We've been married for, Seth's been married for 13 years.
15 years.
Okay.
Got him, podcast.
15 years, and his wife enjoys playing the game. My wife enjoys playing. Ty's wife enjoys playing. We all love playing together. And so that's something that a lot of people have a stigma about. Like, you have to be some big nerd that well, there's a lot of fun things about role-playing that a lot of people just overlook or don't give it a try. So along with that, in the podcast, we're going to try and address some of those things to people who have never played before and show them why there is a reason to try it, at least because it's a lot of fun. It's something that you don't think will be fun at first, but, speaking for myself, my first role-playing experience, I had no idea that we were actually, it was with our buddy Trevor, who actually wrote our little theme song.
Oh yeah, we forgot to give a shout out for that. That opening song was
Star.
Yes.
Trevor. Thank you very much.
Yeah, our buddy Trevor, who
musical genius.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I was hanging out with him, and he was going to play a role-playing game, and he told me, "Hey, we're going to play a Star Wars RPG." Now, when he says that, my brain goes, "Oh, we're going to play like a video game, a Star Wars video game or whatever." And so we show up, and his buddy, who was GMing at the time, and they got the mat set up and everything, and I'm like, "What is this?" So, so we made a character for myself, and I was like, kind of learning. I knew nothing about the mechanics, but I can just remember like I had I was a Jedi. I had the Force skill. This was the old D20 Star Wars game by Wizards of the Coast that we were playing. And there was like a box or something that wouldn't open for whatever reason. And so I just thinking like, okay, well, I have the Force. Can I lift it up with the Force and slam it against the wall? And I rolled a crit. I rolled a 20.
Yep.
And the GM was like, absolutely, you smash it open on the wall. And it was like the best feeling. Like, wow, I thought of that on my own. I did it right. I rolled well, and that happened in the game. I did what I wanted to do. So it was kind of like that. That was like, okay, this is actually pretty fun. So
that's
that was
the
just my little
big difference between like a board game or even a video game. You actually is a free form platform for telling stories. And I was just going to say, along with what you're mentioning, like when your wife played the first time, I actually remember exactly what she said because she was skeptical. I don't think she was too interested in playing.
Yes.
And
Sam's the cool one. She always has to be the cool kid. So playing a role-playing game.
So when she was playing, though,
the high school
I think
smoking cigarettes.
But I think we were only maybe 10 minutes into the game, and she stopped and she's like, "Can we do this all the time?" Because she realized how fun it was. And that's what I want to get across too with this is that, like you said, a lot of people might be like, "Well, that sounds stupid. I don't want to bother with that." Even my wife, like I said, we've been married 15 years. It wasn't until quite a few years in she actually finally tried one. And as soon as she tried it, she loved it.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with most people. They sit down. It's this weird thing that you're going to play this character and you're going to act or something like that. And we'll get more into that first person and third person role playing all that later. But I find that most people that finally sit down and try it wind up loving it. So
absolutely. So, sorry, Ty, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say for myself, I know when my wife Leah and I tried, we were both really excited for it. The idea of kind of, telling a story with everybody was really intriguing, but we had never tried it. We kind of got thrown in with a group that was already a little bit established, but from the very beginning, it's a little bit, kind of scary. How do I play my character? Like, how do I differentiate? But really quickly, we kind of faced a group in opposition to us, very much so view-wise on the world and how they dealt with things. And immediately, you kind of become so absorbed because now it's someone challenging your ideas. And you jump in and now you really get into that character and slowly but surely you start playing and you lose a lot of that, am I going to look like an idiot? Am I going to do this or that? You just kind of get in the character and you let it flow through you and you just kind of play. And we absolutely loved it. You really get into that character. And especially starting this campaign, there's a lot of, you'll see stuff we kind of get into that's very, I think Seth in the last campaign really decided he just wanted to break everybody down every session. I was constantly just yelling in our last campaign, like 98% of the time just yelling. Because that was Seth's goal, was just to constantly cause chaos, and it was great. There's a lot in this campaign you'll see where he's immediately just kind of throwing in all these ideas and making it kind of dark and gritty, and we got to kind of rise to that challenge, so it'll be good.
Yeah. So, that's a little bit about why we're doing this, and I mean, that's also how we got, I want to mention the name, Not Your Average Legends, was because we're not, if you look at us, obviously you're listening, but if you were to look at us in a group, we don't look like the type of people that are going to be like playing a role-playing game all the time. And that's nothing against people that do look like they would be playing a role-playing game all the time.
There's a stigma attached to it.
But there's a stigma attached to it, and it's something that a lot of people should try. So those are some things that we're going to talk about, and along with other things that we like about role-playing or aspects of role-playing. All right, so with that, we're going to jump right into the system we're using for the campaign. It is by Pinnacle Games, I believe, the Savage Worlds system, right?
Yep.
And this is something that we have never used before, so it's very new to us.
Yep.
But, Seth, you want to comment a little bit on why you chose the system for us? Because you ultimately made the decision.
Savage Worlds was actually suggested to me a few times over the years, and I was happy using the systems I was using. Well, I thought I was happy using the systems I was using. And I actually got tired of what we were playing with, and I wanted something new. So I finally looked into Savage Worlds. And I liked, one, a lot of the systems are designed purely around a character class, which often translates into building your character purely around combat, which kind of becomes a board game at that point. Because then you'll usually have one guy in the group that can talk, and one guy that can do this one thing, and everyone else is just combat. How are we going to fight? I don't like systems that are designed purely around that. Savage Worlds is a little different in that they don't actually have character classes. And so I really like that aspect of it. But also, the Savage Worlds system is very quick and easy to use. When I sat down to play a trial session with a friend of mine, I was skeptical because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. And first of all, you also got to, you're not using a D20, which is very different
that threw me off.
For most role-playing games. So that's kind of I don't know, because, you really like using the D20.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, a lot of systems are built around the D20, so we get so used to that. Yep. Yeah. Anyway. But within a few minutes of playing it, I thought it was simple and it was really fun and easy to learn. So that's why I had kind of pitched the idea of using Savage Worlds to do for our game for this podcast. What do you guys think?
So I'll be honest, I came into it. I came from a D20 system. I was a little bit skeptical. It's very Savage Worlds coming from some more structured systems. It's got a sandbox kind of feel. It's really open. You can make your character however you kind of want.
I remember when we were making characters, everybody kept asking me, what are the character classes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
You're just so used to it.
yeah, there's no real direction, which can be good and bad, but it's been interesting. For example, I'm playing kind of a little bit of a roguish type, whereas Kathy is also playing a little bit of a roguish type character. But as you'll see, completely different. On a lot of other systems, if you have two people playing rogues, you have two people playing rogues.
Yes.
The same abilities, a lot of it's the same. It's a little bit redundant. But in a system like Savage Worlds, our characters are playing very differently. Mm-hmm. And I really like that. You can have a kind of a style you want to play and go in completely different directions. It's very open on what you want to do. A lot of it's really up to the GM's discretion. Can I do this? Can I do that? There's less rigidity, if that's a word.
Yep.
I want to try to do this. Hey, can I taunt this guy? Can I do this? Can I climb this? Can I, try to kick over this to gain some kind of advantage? It's very open.
It is.
From character creation to play. At first, the goal for most tests is a 4, unless it's, particularly easy or difficult. So my initial thought with that was you were just going to be destroying every test that was going to come your way. It's a 4. There's no variability in other systems. So my initial thought was, 10's easy. 15, 20, really tough, beyond really hard. So there's kind of levels you're always looking to hit. But constantly being a 4, I thought, I don't know how I feel about that. That could be a walk in the park. But the way it kind of builds abilities and skills and everything, really kind of forces you to decide what you want to be good at. You always have a chance of getting anything. But when you're rolling a D4 and your wild die a D6, each at a -2, because you didn't bother to put anything into that skill, your chances are pretty slim. Whereas if you decide, okay, I want to be really sneaky, you can build specifically to be sneaky. It kind of forces a little bit more thought and character development into what you want to be good at and what maybe you're not as concerned about being good at, and to think about the other characters. It seems a little weird at first, but as we kind of got into the system, made some rolls, it actually makes a lot of sense, and I was surprised. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I think that aspect of it is balanced really well.
Good. So I think a lot of people that have played role-playing games would probably understand everything you said, but for people coming into this wondering what a role-playing game is, I want to just explain how the system works really quick. So like you mentioned, the goal when you want to do something is generally 4. You want to match it or roll over it.
So you rolling dice to carry out a task that you would like to do.
Yeah. So when you make a character in the game, the rules are you decide how fast is he, how smart is he, and you assign a dice size to each of those attributes. And so when you say, I want to climb that wall, you say, all right, I'm going to roll my strength. You take your strength die along with a hero die, or they call it a wild die. We can kind of bounce in between what we call it. But you get an extra die, and you roll those 2 dice, and as long as one of them equals 4 or better, you accomplish the task. So when you hear us playing and there's like a test for a skill or something like that, we're always going for a 4. And there's more rules too, we can get into it, but that's the basic system.
And if you're really new to role-playing games, there are other dice that aren't only 6-sided with dots on them.
And if you try to play with dots, some of us found out the hard way. You will be, I don't want to say, I don't want to say mocked and or ridiculed. Board gaming, tabletop games are usually a pretty open community, but you may catch a little bit of heat for it. So buy yourself a set of polyhedrals with some numerals on there. It'll cost you like
I'm fully against using spotted dice in role-playing games.
And you can play with the cool kids, is what he's trying to say.
And we'll have a discussion about that in another game. I think it's important. But
we having a dice discussion?
We'll have a dice discussion.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Stay tuned, like and subscribe.
Did you have anything you want to mention about the system, Jonathan?
No, I mean, I just had to get past the point that we weren't using a D20.
Which we actually are.
So we kind of changed a little bit of a rule here. One thing with the Savage World system is for when in combat, in a combat scenario, when you have your initiative order, or in other words, who goes first in terms of attacking. The system for Savage Worlds is you actually have a deck of basic playing cards, and you draw them out to the players every round, which we definitely forgot to do a couple times, but bear with us, we're still learning the system. But you draw a card for every player, and based on the order of cards, or high or lower is the turn order. We decided to abandon that and just roll our d20s, like most other role-playing systems, to determine initiative order. So far, it's been fine. I mean, we haven't gotten that deep into this game yet, but so far it's been fine, and it's a little easier. It's one less thing to keep track of and have on the table.
And we don't get to lose our beloved d20s.
That's
true.
Right.
I just got a new set of dice with octopuses on the 20, so I wasn't giving
Was it
them
like
up.
there you
Hydra
go.
dice?
It's pretty
Hydra
sweet.
dice? No.
Oh, look at that. Straight critted it.
No, it was a 17. That's
Not bad. Okay,
As far as the podcast knows, it was a crit.
So that's
All
the
right, so-
system we're using as Savage Worlds.
Yeah, so we'll probably get into more technical details of it in later episodes, so stay tuned. But for now, we're going to jump into the world that we are playing in the campaign. So the players will be in this made-up world, all written by Seth. Seth, would you like to comment on the world we will be visiting and adventuring in?
Yes, so that is a big thing that I think everyone listening should know. A lot of people like to play in pre-generated universes and worlds and use all their maps and lores and whatever. I never liked doing that. Even when I played things like the old Star Wars role-playing game, I never played in the Star Wars universe. I always liked having my own that I created and I had control over, and I could do what I wanted with it. So the world we're playing in, I guess I'd categorize it as science fantasy, because it's a little bit of sci-fi, it's a little bit of fantasy, kind of together in one. And it's, I guess, a dystopian future to an extent.
Yeah.
It's a dystopian future.
Well, it
you'll
is.
you'll
Not
find
to an
out
extent.
just how
Okay,
dystopian that thing
it's
is.
dystopian.
Things are going really well on the surface. The world, the name of the planet is called Ilos. And the story is, the backstory, we'll just keep it simple and brief, is there was this being called the Vagrant that came and visited the world. And at the time, it was kind of, think like the 14th century, maybe. So it was like a medieval world. That was about their level of technology. And the Vagrant bestowed upon them what everyone refers to as the blue. The blue is this energy that they could use to create and do things they never thought were possible before. So mankind took exponentially these huge leaps in their technology, and they grew fast. And unfortunately, they wound up destroying themselves. There was a lot of war, and they ruined the planet of Ilos to the point where it's poisonous and almost uninhabitable. And from that, because they had all this technology, though, they built these great cities that they call the Sky Cities to lift themselves from the surface and be above it, where the atmosphere isn't poisonous and where they could live. So the players are going to be on the Sky City Atmos 7. So there actually are other Sky Cities that have risen and fallen. This is one of the oldest, and we'll get into, as we play, why it survived so long, and it's one of the most powerful Sky Cities there are, and why that is. And we're going to be starting with the players actually waking up from a long sleep. And I don't want to give too much more information away, but there's going to be some twists and turns and some excitement. I think people are going to enjoy the story. So, starting off, there's going to be some pretty horrific events
Wow.
that the players are involved in. And the theme I'm going with is family. And part of the reason I wanted to do that was I think all of us were not related by blood, but we're very close. We've known each other a long time, and we see each other as family. And I thought that would make it fun to play a game that the overlaying theme of it was family. So you have all these fantastic science fiction elements and fantasy elements and all this stuff going on, but at the heart of it, it's going to be about family. So I hope people really enjoy it.
Yeah. That's what we all want, right? We hope people enjoy this. So hopefully... all right, so that's going to wrap it up, right, for our first discussion? All right, awesome. So thank you for listening. Yep. And stay tuned for coming up next, our actual play session of the campaign featuring the three of us, Seth as the GM, and our wives, all as characters, which we will introduce at the first session. And also, for after the session, our post-game discussion, talking a little bit what we thought of our first session on Atmos 7.
Sounds good.
Yep, so thank you very much for listening to Not Your Average Legends. Make sure that you subscribe to us in whatever form you may be watching it on. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. If you're listening to it on a podcast streaming system, follow us, like us, whatever. And follow us on Patreon. That'd be great. Follow us at Twitter, @your_legends. And I hope you enjoy this podcast. We look forward to making it. We look forward to playing. And we look forward to everyone listening, enjoying it. Let us know what you think as well.
All right, let's play a role-playing game.
Let's roll some dice, baby.
All right, welcome to Not Your Average Legends. This is our first play session. I'm Seth, the GM. I have to my right Sam. Your character is?
Willow. She's a fighter, and she will kick your butt.
All right. We have Jonathan. Your character is?
My character's name is Bo, and he's a marksman. He uses a sweet energy bow. And he's a little overconfident, so he's not going to back down from a challenge.
All right. Then we have Leah. You're playing?
Annabelle. She is an engineer. She is curious by nature and is great at inventions.
Awesome. We have Tyler. He's playing?
Playing Gunner. He is a fun-loving gunslinger.
Cool. And we have Kat. You are playing?
I am playing Sansa, who's a silver-haired rogue who can wield both guns and swords.
All right.
Oh, snap.
Wow.
So, as we probably mentioned in our pre-game discussion, me and Jonathan, we're playing the Savage World system. So this is all kind of new for all of us. We haven't played using this system yet, so it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for all of us. So anyone who's listening can kind of learn along with us as we play. We have read the rules, though. We understand them.
I haven't.
Nah, we're winging it, man.
We're winging a lot of it.
D20s all the time.
The book even says it. Just get the basics and then start rolling with it, and you'll figure it out as you go. So
Quite literally.
All
we're
right,
going to
great.
do that. So, everyone's ready to start?
Let's get
Ready.
ready.
Introduction?
I was born ready.
Oh, God.
That's not true. You were born breach. I asked your mom.
Is everybody ready to go now?
We're not going to edit that out.
Like and subscribe.
All right. So, you
Send
wake
us
up.
all your questions about John's breath.
Game intro. Everyone ready?
All right, let's do this. Here we go.
All right. You wake up feeling groggy, unaware of where you are or even who you are. All around you is a white glowing light. You suddenly hear the hum of a mechanical engine around you, and where you're laying starts to vibrate. You get the feeling like you're going up. Eventually, it stops, and you hear some kind of mumbling, like someone's struggling outside. And you realize you're in a kind of a pod, and there's white frosted glass over you from head to toe. A few moments pass, you hear some more mumbling, and it sounds like someone's working on something. And the frosted glass above you starts to fade,
Oh, cool.
and you hear a loud hiss. The pod that you're in opens up. You suddenly see a pair of hands appear over the side of the pod, and someone peeks over and looks in. He looks a little weathered, some peppery gray hair, and he goes first to to Bo's pod, and he peeks his head and he says, "Brother," and he reaches his hand in to help you out.
Okay, so how am I, I'm assuming I'm feeling like I just woke up.
Yes.
All right. Like, whoa. That was some party. No, sorry. Man, who are you?
He says, "You don't recognize me, huh?
My
name is Abel.
Can't say I do.
I'm your brother. I'm sorry, you're not going to remember any of that. We have to go."
Oh, okay.
He shakes
all
you a
right.
little bit and reaches for your arm to pull you out.
Whoa, okay, so I get out with him.
All right. He pulls you out of the pod. When you stand up out of the pod, you see 4 other pods beside yours. And he walks over to the next pod, hisses, opens up, and inside is Willow. And you see this man looking down at you with this white glowing light around you. He says, "Sister, wake up."
No.
He reaches in to help you out of the pod.
I ignore his hand and I stand up on my own.
He backs off. He's strong as ever, Willow. And he walks over to the next pod, opens it up with a hiss, and he sees inside Annabelle. He says, "Sister, wake up. We've got to go."
All right.
He
I'll take
reaches
his
it-
hand.
All
And,
right, he
yeah.
pulls you out of the pod.
Well, that was easy.
He goes to the next pod. Same thing. Hisses, opens up. And he says, "Gunner, wake up."
I want to continue to be asleep as I assess the situation around me.
Around you is cushions. Everything's white. And there's a glowing light coming from the pod that you're in. He reaches in. You feel a hand tapping the sides of your face.
Or like slapping.
I'll slap his back. It's like a
He
quick-
backs off.
I'll stand up next to him.
All right. He reaches to help you out to grab your arm.
I'll slide by and give him a hug.
All right.
What?
He pulls you in for a hug. He says, "Brother, it's good to see you."
Does he have anything in his pockets?
So you just
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, I'm just waking up, man.
The rogue of the group, everyone.
Yep.
Oh no.
So he has all
I'm
kinds
cold.
of things, but he
I'm
feels you
cold.
feeling him, and he backs off, and he says, "One more left," and he goes to the next
Whoa.
pod. It hisses and opens up, and he sees Sansa inside. He says, "Sister, wake up." He reaches in to pull you out.
Who are you?
No one's going to remember me yet, huh? Abel, your brother. Well, half-brother.
Where am I?
He says, "That's a good question, but we've got no time for answers at the moment. Follow me."
Do I recognize the people? Do I recognize them?
Yes. Well, no. So
I'll take his hand.
he pulls you up out of the pod. Now that you're all standing there, you notice, oddly, the women, you all look very much alike. Almost like you were cloned. And the men, you also look at each other like you're looking into a mirror almost. Very
Like,
similar.
literally, we look the same.
Like
Yeah.
a handsome mirror.
Whoa.
Very handsome mirror. Fist bump. So, he says, "I know you have a lot of questions. I'll explain, but you've got to come with me." So, you notice that you're standing on a stage with these pods, and around the stage is this massive amphitheater. There's chairs lining it, and each of the chairs looks like they're hovering above like a blue glowing light. There's no ceiling to the amphitheater, and you can see the stars in the heavens. It's
How
nighttime.
pretty.
Yep.
Is there anything else that, with a little closer look, I can pick up on?
Roll a notice check.
All right.
For the record, I'm already running while you're dying behind us.
Wow. Just listen to anybody, huh? I'm just kidding. All right, Blue's the Wild. 6.
4.
I
You
got
don't
a
add
plus
them
2
together.
to my notice
Oh, you have a
because
plus
I have
2,
an
6.
edge that gives me that.
Oh,
Okay.
fancy.
I thought you were adding the dice together.
No, sorry. I have a plus 2
I
to
gotcha.
the Wild Die 4.
All right. So you notice one of the doors at the far end of the amphitheater. It's like a big stadium door to bring in equipment or something, you'd guess. All around the edges of it, it looks like someone's welding it from the other side, using a welder to cut through.
So I'm going to use my deductive reasoning that I don't want to meet those people, so I'm going to run.
He says, "Come with me," and he goes over to the center of the stage, behind the pods, and there's a set of stairs that goes down. He says, "Everybody, go!" You guys
Wow.
follow?
I'll follow him,
Yep.
yeah.
Already there.
Yes!
Abel, was it?
Yeah, we follow.
Abel.
That pack looks a little heavy. You want a hand?
He kind of moves the pack around his shoulders. He goes, "I'm good for now. Thank you."
Can I get that jacket? I'm freezing.
He goes, "We'll get things for you. Let's go. We've got to run right now." So you go down the stairs, and you enter a room. It looks like a control room. At the far end is a door that's closed, and there's a console next to the door. And then the end that you entered in, next to the stairs, is a locker. And lying on the floor next to that locker is a soldier who's bound. He's tied up.
Whoa.
Did you do this?
Got him.
I say to Abel.
Abel looks, he says, "Yes, I did."
Why?
Let's say he wanted to kill you. I was trying to stop
Good
him.
man.
I guess that's good enough.
Just like
reason.
those soldiers coming through the doors in the theaters. We've got to go. And
Yeah.
he goes over to the main door. Do you have something you're going to say?
I just wanted to say, who are these soldiers? Why are they after us?
He goes, "I have plenty of answers for all of your questions, but we've got to go right now." And he says, "Arya? Arya?" And he's standing at the door. He goes, "I'm going to have to do this manually. She's not answering." And he starts working on the door.
Uh-oh.
So,
is there anything we can do to
what's
help?
that?
Is there anything we can do to help here?
He says, "If anyone knows how to work that console."
Well,
Annabelle feels this innate desire to go and tinker with it because she's curious.
Yes, I will go tinker with the console.
All right, roll a engineering check.
Oh, man.
So just for everyone who's listening, the goal for Savage Worlds is always to hit a 4. If it's something very difficult, I'll make it a 6, or if it's something super easy, I'll make it a 2. But generally, you're just looking for a 4 or better.
What was that?
All right,
Okay,
looks-
so I aced.
Yeah,
so
she
you can-
aced a thing, so she's rolling another d6.
Yep,
Used to
and 2.
die.
A die, right.
2.
Nice.
So 8.
8. So
she
8
got a raise.
is also a raise as well. So as soon as she starts tinkering with it, it feels natural to you, like you've done this before. And she flips some switches and pulls some levers, and the stairs behind you, they fold and slam up into a door. So that door is closed off, and Abel looks back and says, "Well done. We'll be safe in here for a little while." And then the door in front of him also clicks and then hisses open. It was excellent.
I did it.
My guy goes, oh, snap. High five.
Whoopah!
Can I open that? Can I check out that locker before we go?
Yes, you can. So you go over to the locker. It's just a regular metal locker, and it looks like it is locked.
Pretty sure I can open that.
All right. You want to just muscle it open?
Yeah.
Strength check.
And do I roll my wild die?
Always, yep.
Nice.
9.
9, nice.
Woo.
So Willow walks over to the locker, and she's examining the lock, and doesn't pay any attention, and just muscles that thing open, and it
Yep.
creaks and pops it open. Inside, you see 2 pistols
Nice.
sitting in holsters. It looks like there was other weapons in here before, so you assume it was some kind of weapons locker. All that's left over at the moment are 2 pistols.
Ooh.
I take both of them?
Let me give you an idea, by the way, of how they look, because I found a picture that looked really cool.
Oh, snap.
I may not really know how to use them, but I know that I don't trust anyone else here.
What? Come on.
Come on. I look like your face.
Sound
What,
logic.
would you say that you don't trust yourself?
Dun, dun,
Why
dun.
is he here?
He is your husband.
Unfortunately.
Wait, what happened?
I can't find the picture. I don't know what I did with it.
Oh, oops. Oh, well.
Looks like a gun.
Looks like a gun. Safe to say.
Does it look like
a
the
gun,
evil
but it's like a
twins?
sci-fi fantasy gun. It's really
Did
cool.
someone say evil twins?
It would be interesting if she found evil twins.
We'll
The
get there,
pistols.
folks. More to come. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Dun, dun, dun.
Like and subscribe. Watch episode 2 for more.
Oh,
Oh, he has it. There you go. So I'll show that to them. That's the average.
Let me see.
Was that
There
a
you go.
flintlock?
so it's it kind of looks like a flintlock pistol,
Ain't nobody.
Oh,
but there's
even
like
got the
this
blue
kind
in
of
it.
like
It's got
shell,
Oh, that's cool.
Because everything, even
Ain't
weapons
nobody
and
got
things are
time
powered
for a
by blue.
flint.
Very
That's
nice.
awesome.
I like it a lot.
Awesome.
but it's got this like
Yeah.
piece of blue thing
I love
on top
that.
that kind of
I want
Yep.
one.
just to describe it to people.
Fan the hammer.
So imagine like an old flintlock pistol with a blue orb on top of it.
Yes, because all the weapons are not.
Use
they
your
don't
imagination.
hold bullets or rounds or anything. They're all powered by the blue.
Oh.
What?
Weapons.
Yeah,
No.
no, you said the blue. What?
What?
What is that?
I don't think Abel said that. I think Seth was saying
I
that.
was saying that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yo.
It wasn't RP.
OC, okay?
We'll explain what the blue is as we go on, and that everyone will get it. You
Oh,
guys
okay.
know, but I mean the audience will.
Oh right. Okay. I was all right.
Yeah.
All right. So
So you find 2 of those.
find 2 pistols, and you're just taking them and not giving them to anybody.
Correct.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Sansa has it. And it's eye towards you.
Yeah, you could. I could use that gun. I can help here. The one thing I do know is I'm great. I'm great with weapons.
I just keep heading towards the open door.
What?
All right.
Coward.
Fine.
I'll steal it later.
Someone's got an attitude. Only thinks about herself.
I don't know any
Got
of
it.
you.
Nobody knows anybody.
I look at Gunnar and I go, she
Everyone's
scares
suspicious.
me.
My name's Gunner. I mean, it's like, if anyone's gonna have a gun, it's pretty obvious.
All right.
It would be Gunner.
That's all I'm saying.
Maybe you should have been strong enough to pop the door open.
It's like giving Bo a knife. Don't make no sense.
All right, so Abel is disappointed that he couldn't get hold of someone named Arya. It looked like he was talking to no one, but he was saying the name Arya. Couldn't get hold of her, but he says we must proceed. We've got to go and down the corridor.
All right.
So
Let's
he-
go.
He goes out the room. So he goes in. You hear footsteps echoing, his voice echoing as he walks, and it's very dark and everything's just concrete around you. And as he's walking, he says, "So, do you remember anything?"
Can't say I do.
I don't even know who I am.
Yeah. Who are we?
I wish I was able to
Who are
remember.
these people?
I can help you out with that.
Got him.
You are Willow. That's your name.
Oh yeah, that's
As
what
much
you
as your
called me when
parents
you woke me up.
protested that. Bo,
Okay.
it's actually illegal to have a name in this world.
Whoa,
For you.
what?
Rebels.
For her?
For any of you.
Oh.
Is that a fine or
Any
jail
of
time?
us. For any of us.
All right.
To have a
Because
name.
I'll explain all of it. But your name is Willow. Your name is Bo.
Right. That sounds right.
Right on.
Your name is Annabelle. Gunner.
No proof.
And he looks at Sansa and says, your name is Sansa.
Sounds like a beautiful name. I like it.
Now, with him revealing names to us, does any type of memory trigger within us?
Yeah.
That's a good idea. So, when you hear your name,
Oh, sorry.
little flashes start to come back. Like, when you hear it, you're like, yeah, that is me. I know who that is, but you're still unsure entirely of who you are. But you feel comfortable with that. And when you hear the other names, you feel something towards all of them. Maybe Willow feels a little more at ease with them now because you feel like you know them, but they don't look like the people you know. And those names sound familiar, though. But there's some kind of attachment you have to them. You're not sure what it is.
That's fine. I'm still keeping the guns.
We're all in the
Wow.
same situation here.
Coward.
You know?
No one needs someone.
You don't
now.
get the monopoly on being safe by keeping the guns.
All right, guys.
Really?
All right, guys. Come on, we gotta move here. Something.
That
I
seems
still don't
fair.
want to die, no matter
It
what.
seems fair. That's what I'm saying. Just
Why are we
speaking
here?
my mind. That's all.
Share
What is
the-
going on?
Share the wealth.
April
am I
says,
right?
that's a good question.
Or we'll take it.
You're all here for the rebirth.
Yeah, I
You
tried
have to.
crying for my cold dead.
Did anybody hear what he said?
No, we gotta
I was
redo
listening.
that. We gotta redo that. Say it again.
She asked why we're here, and he said, you're all here for the rebirth.
The what?
He's,
That sounds creepy.
That
don't
sounds
remember
gross.
anything.
I mean, I know what it is.
That
but for the
sounds
sake of the group.
Let me start by saying, all of you, you have royal blood in you.
Ah.
Wait.
We're
Related?
royalty.
You are royalty.
Am I a prince?
Oh, God.
Something like that.
Yes.
It was just not as pleasant as you'd like to think, though.
Does that make us...
You're all siblings.
Ah.
Can I have a gun now?
Gun then.
That's her line. That's her opening line.
Are you our sibling too? You
Yes,
said brother before.
I'm your brother. Well, I'm your half-brother.
Oh, brother.
Let
Which
me
half?
explain.
Yes.
And
please.
as he starts to talk, again, he's going through these corridors and down and upstairs and winding around. He seems like he knows where he's going, but it's getting exhausting as you guys walk. He says, every 70 to 100 years or so, there's a rebirth. He says, the government on Atmos 7, which you probably don't remember that, do you?
What is Atmos?
That's where we are. That's the city we're in, Atmos 7.
Is it the seventh of it?
That is a good question, and yes.
More of an Atmos 8.
You mean there's other
Atmos?
Atmoses?
There are other sky cities.
We're in
Also
the
called
sky.
Atmoses? Atmos.
Atmos
What?
is Jones.
What is Atmos 7?
Because Atmos 7 is one of the oldest sky cities, and it survived longer than all of the others because of the government that rules it. At least that's what all the people believe.
Us?
Because you are supposed to be part of it, but not in the way you'd like.
Oh.
So, the royal family rules Atmos 7. And he's looking around the corridors and peeking around corners as he walks and talks to you and tells you all this. He says the royal family consists of the father, the mother, the daughter, and the brother. He says each facet of the government rules a different district of Atmos 7.
Okay.
It's a very prosperous city. The father rules the justice district. The mother rules the life district. The daughter rules the spirit district. The son runs the iron district.
What's the spirit district?
The spirit district is where people go for well-being, mentally and physically. You'd have to see it to understand it. This government has ruled over Atmos 7 for hundreds of years. The way they do it is unfortunate, though. Each time one of them reaches the end of their lifespan, they have a rebirth. Rebirth is when they take their children, usually the eldest, and they transfer their consciousness into their children's consciousness.
That's
What?
creepy.
And about that.
Very
life.
much so.
So,
they're stealing
What happens
the
to
lives
the
of the
What
children?
happens to the children?
Well, that's what they don't want people to know. See, the teaching is that they merge the two consciousness, and you become one with your parents, and you have the sharing of knowledge and life and you live on and help your parents live on forever. Truth is that they're murdering you and taking your body.
And that's what they want to do to us.
And who you are goes away. You are the next in line to give your bodies, to sacrifice them for your parents.
So
And you're saving us.
I'm stopping that from happening because it is not the way things should be.
That's so weird.
That is so dishonorable.
So how
That's a
long?
bro move.
So how long have we been frozen?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, were we frozen?
The answer, unfortunately, is 30 years.
Whoa!
Yes, we
I'm
were
gonna
frozen.
need a jacket.
Hard time.
He says, see, it used to be that just a week before the rebirth, they would take the children, put them in the pods and prep them. But ever since Eliza, that they do it differently
Who?
now. 30.
Who is Eliza?
Eliza, who is that?
Because you really remember nothing, don't you?
No.
Because to make it clear, all of you were against this, but you were forced to submit. And I agreed with you to stop it from happening. Sorry it took me so long, but
Thank
the
you for
government
trying
is
and
very
helping
powerful.
us.
And here we are.
When was the last time we saw you?
Just about 30 years ago before you went under. I was only 13.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, wow.
I promised you then I would find you.
And how old are we?
It was probably in your 20s, I believe. Somewhere around there.
So when he says that, do we remember how old we are?
Yeah, it starts to come back. And I forget you are
Yes.
Ty and I are 22.
22.
Yes, I'm 20.
Taylor Swift.
I remember.
And I was 17.
Yep.
And that would make me 16.
16. So it starts to come back now, and you start realizing these are my brothers and sisters, but you all still don't look how you remember.
I finally give Sensa a gun.
Oh, my name is Gunner. Where's my gun?
I still don't like you.
Wow.
Well, you know what?
What
I'm
about
going
that
to
jacket I
extend my
gave you when we were
hand
13?
To my sister, Willow, and say, Willow, I am Sansa. I am your sister. I am loyal to you, and I will always be loyal to you. I understand I must
So you guys
I
are
must
20.
earn your trust, but I will do that. Don't worry.
Same
But
here.
one thing I do have to say, no loyalty, no honor for our parents.
Still gunless, still jacketless, backpackless.
What was that, Annabelle?
Well, you had a question.
Yeah, she had a question.
No, I didn't have a question. I was just trying to get the...
Oh, she was
Yeah,
trying to figure
Annabelle's
out...
trying to convey to everyone listening that Ty and I are twins.
What's the,
Yes,
what's,
that's
what's
what
the
she
question?
realized.
Why don't I have a gun?
No.
No, what she realized, she said both of you guys are 20?
22.
22. Abel says, yes, actually, you two are twins. You probably don't remember that.
Referring to Gunner and Willow.
So we should share things like guns.
He says, which explains why there's 5 of you.
That-
See, the mother, the father, the son, the daughter would take, usually the eldest, 4 children and take those bodies to live on and live on and live on.
Naturally.
So, he says, Sansa was a backup in case it did not work.
I'm sorry.
A backup.
For the twins.
Oh.
So who
They usually have a backup anyhow because the rebirth does not always go as planned.
am I supposed to be?
He says, I can't answer that for you. You all had different roles. They tried to force and train you to be a certain way, to basically be your parents. But all of you rejected that. Willow used to spend so much time in the Iron District. It drove your mother furious.
That makes a lot of sense.
So,
So,
does that mean me and Annabelle are backups as well? Because we're younger than them.
No, I believe one of you, at least, or both of you, would become either the son or the daughter.
Oh. Wait, they could take 2 kids at the same time?
I don't know how all the technology works, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's weird, dude. Well, what do we do now at this point? I mean,
We're still
Things are-
running through the halls.
Yes, you're still rushing through the halls.
oh, right, that's right. Ah, we are running.
So, as you're walking around, he says, any more questions? I wish I could explain better. So we were in such a rush.
Where are we going?
I don't know anything about myself.
About that
He
jacket.
says, you will learn. And when we get back to the base, Oliver will help you learn that.
Who?
Base.
Who?
Oliver.
Who's Arya?
Arya? Oh, she's helped me get in here. Apparently she can't help me get out. I don't know what's happening.
I think we just gotta run for now.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Let's go.
We'll figure it out eventually.
So as you're running through the corridors, eventually he comes to 2 double doors. And it says, this stadium used to be, it's also used for the games. They have gladiatorial games and things like that.
Oh.
They play in. So fortunately we have
longer.
locker rooms. What's that?
She said it's vulgar.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he pushes open the doors to the locker rooms. You see a big locker room with some lines of lockers, showers,
That
and
would make
this,
sense.
a
The
big
lockers
grating
would be in the locker room.
in the floor.
Pants.
I had to make that clear.
All right.
So he says, search the room. There may be things in here you could use. And he goes over to the big grating on the floor, though, and he pulls this big tool out of his back, and he starts unscrewing it to lift it up.
Okay.
I feel inside me the need to find a sword.
Mm-hmm.
Can I search the room for one, please?
All right. So we'll make it quick so that we don't get too bogged down with it. You search through the locker room, and I'll tell you some stuff that you find.
Okay.
On one side of the room, a set. Plate
There's that.
pauldrons.
Vodka.
Of what?
Huh?
Gin.
Yo, are those for your
Plate pauldrons,
legs?
they go on your shoulders.
Okay.
That's what they are.
So who finds this?
It's,
I
you
think
guys
he's
just
letting
see
us
it
in the
know
room.
what's
He's
in
It's
telling
in
us
the
what's in the room.
hanging on a wall, like as if a gladiator took it off before he took a shower with it. Just
Okay.
hanging there. Next to it also a small shield.
Who doesn't shower with
Looks
their
like it's all beat
pauldrons
up
on?
from combat.
Only one?
Only one.
And that's it?
No, as you go through the lockers, you find 2 sets of leather armor.
Oh yeah, you keeping
Are
track
you
of
keeping?
this,
Do
Leah?
you want to keep track of this? Or do you want me to?
You
I'll do
find
it.
clothing. Because I don't know if it was mentioned, but you guys are wearing just these skin-tight white jumpsuits.
Will
I'm
someone
so
will give me
grateful
a
that
jacket?
you talked about that you're bringing that up, because yes, these bodysuits, my brothers look quite vulnerable in them.
Quite
They
tiny.
just look so, yes. They need help.
Hurtful.
So what's after the 2 leather armor?
All right. You also find in the lockers a long sword and a short sword.
Yes!
What about a medium sword?
There is no medium.
So we only find 2 pieces of armor.
If we can all agree that I get the sword, I will give up this second gun to whichever one of you want it.
So
I want a sword.
Take
You
a
already-
I
second
do
one.
want a sword.
Oh, you have a gun.
I have a gun, but I can also use swords.
all right. Does
Medium
everybody have
sword's
something
fine
now?
with
You guys
me.
want
So who
Sword.
wants to
Sword.
decide who gets what?
Anything's
I'm assuming Sam
I'm
can
putting
get
the
the
gun
long
in the
sword.
mix and tactfully taking the longsword
Can I just sleight of hand that guy?
You want
I
to grab with no
put
one
it
noticing?
on the
Yeah,
table.
just take
so
it. Just
She
Just
gave it to
pocket
you,
it.
I'm
honey.
giving it to you, Ty.
I wanted to do it in the mix in the fray.
Okay, nonetheless,
Alright, fine.
I have the longsword.
Gunner
I can't use
deserves
melee
a gun.
weapons.
I don't.
So she still has a gun.
I
You
have
have
a
a
gun.
gun. You have
Yeah.
a long sword. Do you want the shield too?
Tracy,
Meta gaming. Stop.
Whoa!
Obviously.
No, I wanted you guys to take a minute and just sort out your equipment.
I do not need the shield as I will never be in close combat.
Yeah, if
Fighting.
no one else wants it, I'll take it.
We don't metagame in this podcast.
Okay.
Can I
So-
take the medium sword, or does somebody else
The short
want
sword?
it?
I don't
Uh,
need a
sword,
sword.
yes.
I could have used a gun, but I don't need a sword.
Do
So
you
you're gonna
wanna
take the
give
short
her-
sword.
Unless
Do you want to
somebody
keep
else
the
wants
short
it.
sword and give her the gun?
How do I feel about
No.
being gunless? Do I feel
I'll
like
keep the
perhaps
gun.
I have a
I have
method
to
of
keep the gun.
shooting not
I'm rogue.
gun related?
Oh, it has your power is coming.
Yeah, how do I
yet?
feel about
Not
that?
yet. It's coming.
Okay, that's fair. I didn't know if I
Annabelle-
would know and just be
Annabelle,
like,
why are you good with guns? How are you good with guns?
I just feel like I might be good with a gun.
You
Do you
know
She
what?
want
picks it up and it feels natural in her hand.
Do you want to have a shootout?
Sister Willow was able to trust me. I'm going to trust you and give you the gun.
Did you just give up your gun?
I'm going to give my gun to Sister Annabelle.
That's an integrity move.
So
my sister.
That's
so
an
Annabelle gets a gun.
honor-bound move.
Gets a
I'll
gun.
take the
You
gun.
get a gun. You still have that gun, right? You
Everyone
took it.
gets a gun.
I'll take the sword. I'll take the short
What
sword.
are the stats on the gun?
Hold on. Can I take a leather armor? I'd love a leather armor.
I would also love a leather armor. I assume that it's quiet leather armor.
And
All right. So
Right.
let me give the. I'm going to start from the top here. Long sword is your damage is your strength
It's you, Seth.
die plus your d8.
what's wrong?
Nothing.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's what you roll for damage. Do you know what you roll when you attack?
Wait, hold on.
fighting
Start
style.
over. She didn't get that.
Sorry, I just wanted to know if you know how the combat worked.
Isn't he cute?
Strength die plus D8.
Yes, that's the damage.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's damage?
Strength die
Sure you
plus
don't mind giving
d8.
up your gun, Kathy?
I'm sorry?
You sure you
Huh.
don't mind giving up your gun?
It says.
I'm okay. I have a short
So
sword.
when she attacks with it, that's what she rolls for her damage.
Wow.
Wow.
Sorry, that's a long sword. Short sword is strength die plus a d6.
Strength
We have 2 pistols out there, right?
Is that what it is, a pistol?
It's a pistol, yep. Standard Atmos pistol. It is... The range is 5, 10, 20. Which means if you're within 5 feet, it's just regular. If you're within 10, I believe there's a penalty to it, and then 20 is a higher penalty.
Okay.
I have to look up the numbers exactly, but when we
Yep.
use it, we'll get to that. The damage is 2d6 plus 1. Got it?
Just to clarify, when I shoot with this gun, do I roll my shooting
Shooting skill, yep.
skill?
Yep.
Okay, and then if I hit, then I roll this damage.
Yes. You got it.
But you don't add a hero die to your damage.
No.
So, can I know the leather armor? What it does?
Yep. It gives you plus 1.
2.
That's 2 toughness.
Who took the other leather armor?
Yeah, is anyone
Plus
opposed
1
to me
to
taking
toughness?
the leather armor?
I think it should go to you,
Take it,
Kath.
brother.
You or Kathy.
Take it.
Alright, so me and you got it. Alright, cool.
Cool. And that was a what?
And what was the short sword damage again?
D6
Strength
plus
die
strength.
plus d6.
Yep, you got it.
I'm sorry, what was the leather armor?
Plus 1 to your toughness.
Oh.
And then we also had bracers or something? What else was in
There was a set
Pauldrons.
of pauldrons. Plate pauldrons that go on the shoulders.
Is someone taking those? Or
Let's see
I
if
feel
it's-
like maybe Sam should
Sam?
have
That's
That's
those.
what I was thinking of. Melee.
Who is Sam?
She's definitely our
I'm
tank.
sorry, I feel like Willow.
We Got Him
Give him to the
podcast.
tank.
I feel like Willow should take those shoulder plates.
I concur.
Or whatever.
Okay.
So what do those do for her?
Ooh, a plus 1
Yeah, I'm
toughness.
trying to find it. We'll obviously cut some of
This
out.
is
It's waiting
the
time.
waiting for the GM to look up the stats
Yep.
song.
Yeah!
It's a plus
Sound
3
effects
armor.
provided for you by
Plus
Tony
what?
Plus 3 to toughness, but it's only for when she gets hit in the arm. So if someone... It's hard to...
Jabba jabs the arm.
So she is part of a set.
It's part of a set, yeah. It's going to protect her arms.
I'm with you.
That was the final item, correct?
Who is tracking Lou?
Like there's a
don't know.
person.
I am.
Conversation.
I have it right here.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
I was writing down that I got the gun. I was writing down the stats on the gun.
All right.
Wow.
So it gives you the shoulder plates give you plus 3 to your arm protection, right? Sound right?
And someone karate
Yes.
chops you in the shoulder plate.
So
What?
The small buckler shield, we're not going to call it a buckler, but the small shield is a plus 1 to parry for whoever's using
plus
it.
1 to parry for
Okay.
your shield.
For the shield, okay.
Yep.
My berry is bad.
All right. I think that's it. Oh, the
So
two
can I
pistols. What do the 2 pistols do? Did we ever get that?
2d6
Can I
plus
just
1, son.
make my parry in my own stuff? My parry right now is a 7. Do I assume I always have my shield, or is that something that I'll have sometimes that I won't?
You should always have it. If this for some
Then I
reason
just
you
make
drop
my
it, you just
parry
have to remember that you lose a 1.
All right. Excuse me.
So everybody has a little equipment. A few
Yeah.
people. There is clothing in the lockers too, so you can put on clothing. Just no more armor.
Great. What kind of-
Finally, I have a jacket.
I would
Okay,
say
so
you
we're not
find
wearing, like,
the kind of stuff that you characters look like. There's all kinds of stuff. In there. So, as you guys are sorting out your equipment, putting on the armor, feeling out the swords and everything, the balance of it, looking at the guns, getting used to how it feels in your hands, more memories come back because your gunner, of course, is used to holding guns and
Does the full revolver.
recognizes that he has
ocelot
some kind of skill with it. And the same goes for Sansa and for Willow. You're just using your weapons. They start to feel familiar. As you guys are doing that, Abel says, "Almost there." And you hear like a loud bang, and he pulls the grating up and he's finally got it off. He goes, "Everyone, we got to get down here." As he does that, the doors to the locker room bust open.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Soldiers start
The
pouring
doors
in.
and
They've got rifles. He's like, "Get
Change.
down now! Go! Go! Go!"
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Yep.
So you guys are climbing down into the grating, and he's holding up this just massive, like, sewer grating over the floor. He's like, "I'm coming with you," and he pulls the pack off his back, and he throws it down to you.
Can I catch it?
He goes, "Here we go!" And all of a sudden, you see he suddenly looks like he gets shot, and his whole body starts convulsing, and you see like bolts of electricity you see going on him. He's obviously been stunned by a shot.
Stunned or
He's
dead?
like, "Go! Go!" And you see him, he pulls a necklace out from his shirt.
Seth, how do you do
Little-
this? We've been playing this game for 30 minutes and I already want to cry.
Can
I'll
I,
let
You see
you know
little-
that the last game Seth played, we all cried repeatedly.
And it looks so familiar to you, and he kisses it, he says, "Family forever." And he he reaches into his jacket and pulls out a grenade, drops it down.
Run!
With us?
Run!
He wants you to get out of there. He's blowing up the exit.
Oh.
Well, so much for saving this guy.
Oh boy.
Is there any chance of saving him?
He just dropped a
No
grenade
chance at all,
by
I
him.
assume.
You could try. I know your character's definitely going to want to. Cause
I
you
have
that
to.
Heroic. All right.
So I have to play true to my character. My major hindrance is heroic, and I'll do anything to save someone,
All right,
even if
so
it puts me in danger.
You see Willow start running back towards the opening to go after Abel, and he's shaking his head to run.
Are these stairs or a ladder?
It was nothing. Just drop down.
Oh, can I like try to climb up and like grab onto her like a jacket? I don't know what the
Yeah.
exact clothing type situation is here.
All right. So
I'm gonna do a check for him not to do that, though, right?
sure, you can roll a strength save against. So both you guys do opposing strength checks.
Do I use?
Are you sure it's not agility?
Well, can I help-
I'm like
can we help
scrambling
him?
on top of
I
him.
feel
It's like a grapple.
Can I use my? Do I use my?
You
What's
coward.
my thing called?
Wild die every time. Yep. What's your up there?
Strength, you said?
Yep.
It's not good.
She's got a 5.
Can we help him? How does that work?
See what happens.
Twos, deuces.
So he grabs onto you, but you pull free, and you get up there, and Abel's like terrified that you're here, and he shoves you back down. And you see her go flying back to you.
Oh
Whoa.
Smoke and rocks and pebbles, everything just pours down, and the entrance is definitely closed off now.
no! Is he alive? Is he dead?
Is he
I'm
alive?
sure he got blown up. So
Exactly.
your half brother came and saved you from the Rebirth, and sacrificed himself to make sure you get out.
Like and subscribe, baby.
You've reached the hidden track of session 1.
Thank you! Woot woot!
Alright, so that is the end of session 1. So we're here with the whole crew, and we wanted to discuss a little bit the game, what you guys thought of it. So I guess I'll start off by saying that. What did you guys think of the first session?
I thought it was great. It's really good to play again.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been
it was
a while.
amazing. I enjoyed it a lot.
Really fun.
Certainly interesting when you just wake up in a pod and say, yeah, you were in cryo for 30 years, man.
I
Yep,
also think I'm dead, but there's that.
yep, she got blown up because she tried to save Abel.
about that. Classic comic podcast.
Well, it's cool because she's playing her character. She had that flaw that she's... What was it called? Heroic?
Yeah, that's one of my, sorry, I'm not on my character, I'm on the notes. That's one of my hindrances. It's my major hindrance is my heroic, that I'll do anything to save
Yeah.
anyone.
So she saw him in danger there and had to try to step in and do something. And that's the cool thing with Savage Worlds is it's built around your character having both these cool things they can do, but also these hindrances. Although, and sometimes you'd think of heroic as, why is that a hindrance? And it's because she put herself in danger and wound up getting blown up.
And now she's dead.
Thanks, Leah.
Yeah. We'll have to, it'll get, if we get used to our characters, we'll have to try to remember, like my hindrance is being overconfident, so I gotta try to remember to play that, like,
Yep.
not backing
Exactly.
down from things and whatnot. And although it says specifically in the book under that, that I'm not, like, suicidal, like, I don't do something that I know I'll die, but it's still gonna be pretty hard to, like, say no to a challenge of sorts, so I gotta remember that for Bo.
Yes. Yeah, that's cool. So I actually have a few things as we go through set up for each character's hindrances to kind of play off of them. And I was actually expecting very much that Willow was going to go after Abel and try to stop him. Because as I was writing it, I'm like, he's going to blow up the entrance. And I'm like, she is definitely not going to just stand by and let that happen. So
Yeah. I think it was a
cool.
great first time for all of us.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You know, for one, I'll admit I was very nervous. You know,
Being recorded.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a first.
Yeah, we'll be real. We're getting our sea legs for recording podcasts here, guys.
Yep.
Like and subscribe.
I was nervous too. I think there was a lot of things I wanted to do and play off of, and there's some things I missed after listening to it. I'm like, oh, I wish I had done this or that. Like one of the things was Gunnar, when you hugged Abel, and you're like, you were trying to pickpocket him or steal something off him. I should have had you make a roll and given you something. But I was like so focused. I was like, I have this story and I'm being recorded right now. I have to make sure I get it right. But little character moments, things like that I missed. But we'll make up for it as we go along.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty of people
We have
to
to get
rob.
used to hearing our voices too. I hate listening. I
I know. I don't
who
like
doesn't
the
hate
sound
the
of my
sound of their
voice.
own voice? So
Yeah.
hopefully you guys don't hate the sounds of our voices.
No, everybody else sounds great.
Yeah.
But when I hear myself, it's like, oh.
And Seth, you did great with the accents.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
the accents were spot on.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fun. I like doing the accents for the NPCs because it makes
separates them.
Yeah, and it can make them more memorable too. So there are different ways game masters will do it, and players too. Some people like to play first person. Some people like to do the third person. And you could explain, like Abel says to you, ... in a British accent or something like that.
Nah, that's too much.
Yeah, and people could imagine it and be like, oh, that's how it might have sounded. But I think it's more fun to actually play the characters.
It also, and that's how you like figure out. I mean, for us, especially starting out like fresh in a brand new campaign, that's how we're gonna remember characters is by their voice.
Right.
And of course what they said, but mostly it's gonna be like when you do the voice or the accent or whatever, we're gonna be like, oh right, it was that guy, the guy who's now dead.
Yeah.
So that was another
No
thing.
body, no crime.
He saved us and now he's dead.
Yeah,
So are
Sam
you.
seemed really sad about that.
Well, so here's my thing with that, right? I don't really know this guy at all.
Yep.
Like, it's shocking. Yeah, it's a little sad that this guy just got blown up.
But
But,
he
like,
saved us.
Yeah, but it doesn't
And
really
we're gonna remember him soon enough.
Yeah, but I was going to save myself anyway. It was fine.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, like, yeah, when I remember him, I'm sure it's going to be sad and I'll take some time to reflect, but that guy just woke me up from a nap. Like, led me on a journey
A
and then
30-year nap.
and then and then died.
Bit more than a nap.
Didn't give me a jacket, a backpack willingly, none of that stuff.
He gave us a
Whatever.
backpack.
Unwillingly.
He gave us a backpack.
He was like, I'm dying, here's my stuff. No, but so, like, yeah, I'll feel sad about it when I connect the dots and realize he is who he says he is, but he was just some random guy who kind of got blown up.
Wow, sociopath.
Watch
Well, at
episode
least some
2
of the
for more.
players felt strongly towards him. So
I liked him, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. And
I like this jacket more though.
Yeah, and it got blown up. So
yeah, I mean, he gave you guys some info about the world and tried to help you remember things. And as the sessions go on, like once you remember everything, it'll all make more sense.
Yeah.
And I think Abel's legacy and everything that actually happened with him is actually going to continue to affect the story. I don't want to give too many spoilers away,
Oh, yeah.
but there is more to it.
tune in for episode 4 where we run into a soldier wearing Abel's jacket.
How did he know? So, anybody else have any other thoughts or anything you want to express about that?
I'm excited to use the dice rolls more. I think like some of us didn't even get to roll anything. I
Yes.
think Sansa didn't roll anything. I don't even know if Gunnar did.
Yeah, I think that
yeah.
comes with, starting a game. You gotta get some story and
Right.
some stuff.
But
Yes.
I
need
think
the underlying
everybody rolled
basis of
last
something.
time except for me. But that's okay. It was the story that was, most enjoyable.
We need a
Yeah.
basis
So,
before
yeah.
we can kick some butt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's right.
Ripping open
And
those
we are
lockers
gonna kick butt.
broke my heart.
And what?
There was no finesse. I'm like, you have 2 rogues on the sidelines, like looking at all this stuff we can break into, and Willow just rips it off its hinges.
Well, I'm
Well,
Broke
sorry.
my heart. There was
I'm
no
sorry that I'm
finesse.
stronger than you.
No finesse.
Should have acted quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick
I didn't have anything.
Quicker.
That was the thing. You didn't have any lock picks.
Yeah,
or anything
so
like that,
all I could do was kind of watch.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, yeah.
That's fine.
And
I'll
she
get
ripped the
thieves'
locker
tools
open.
this session.
You what?
I said I'll get some thieves' tools or something.
Oh, okay. I thought you like said something about like I'll get some thieves to like do something about
He
it. I
is
was like,
the
what?
thief.
You got a secret thieves guild we don't know about?
Yeah, come on. Episode 6.
So Sam mentioned something important, though. Is, like when you start a story, that's usually what you wind up getting is you get railroaded. You have to railroad the players a little bit. You always want to give an open world and all these quests, and make it feel like they can just do whatever they want, which you pretty much can. But
You
I
need
mean,
something.
you have to railroad to an extent, and then be like, now the world's open to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
That's
and
fair.
do it.
That's like any RPG, though.
Yeah.
That amphitheater scene, though, It's pretty messed up. So we're all in pods. No, so like we're in pods that are going to get raised into an amphitheater.
Yep.
Where someone else is going to emerge in our body and everyone's going to be like, yeah, this is awesome.
Pretty much, yes.
That's messed up.
Yep.
You know what question I do have?
And it's supposed to be.
We all had the same face.
Yeah.
So was that the face that the parents wanted?
The idea was that, because everything wasn't done, it was going to be done soon.
Okay.
But they were pulling out who you were and putting in what they were. And it actually affected how you looked.
Okay.
So kind of a blank canvas.
Basically.
Some kind of neutral state. Everything
So
we
that's the
were
thing.
came out, and then what they are goes in.
So we
Okay, gotcha.
Episode 2 is coming up soon, and we're going to be addressing all that stuff too, and you'll be looking like yourselves and all that again. So
Stay tuned.
just again, it was railroaded. I mean, it was a quick little story. It was only a half hour long that we played. I feel like I railroaded it a little too much. I would have liked to have allowed a little more freedom that you guys could do more. But I think it was just the first time.
It was necessary.
Yeah, we were also recording the first time, and there's things I forgot, and that's the thing. Anyone listening that because I listen to other podcasts trying to hear how other GMs do it, and I like to learn from them. So I would say, if you miss stuff, I beat myself up. I'm like, I can't believe I forgot that. That would have been a great story point. This would have been cool there, and I should have said that there. Oh well.
I mean, we also haven't all role played together since the summer, so it's been quite.
And it's a whole new system.
It's a new
it's a
system.
new system. We haven't
yeah.
played together in months. Like we all have to get back into the swing of
And a
things.
new character. I think that was really
Absolutely.
hard for me too.
Yeah.
I
trying
think
to
you
get a
did
new
great.
character
We all did great for.
Yeah, I was entertained by all of you guys. So.
and I mean, like for the most part, our characters, we may have an idea of how they're gonna, how they are and how we're gonna play as them.
Yep.
But for the most part, in the beginning, I feel like we all find little parts of our self
Yeah.
and play it through the character. In a way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's as much as we want to play a certain way, your brain, you have to train your brain to think like someone else, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we're still learning how that someone else is thinking.
Yeah.
And it's like the first episode of any TV show too. It's like, it may be good, but better's to come. So
Yeah,
all
once in a while you get a
listening,
pilot
remember
that's
that.
brilliant, but usually it's a setup.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
alright.
So anyone listening, stay tuned.
Yeah. And I think our people were playing their characters pretty well. We'll talk more in later episodes about the collaborative storytelling and playing off each other. I think sometimes GMs are also afraid to let go of some of the control and let the players help with the story. But I think it's actually a good thing, and it's fun to play off each other, and everyone kind of tells their own part of the story.
Any questions, comments, concerns, you want to tell us what you like or didn't like, feel free to email us at
NotYourAverageLegends@gmail.com. Give us some questions for the characters. That'd be awesome.
We also have a Twitter.
Yep, we have a Twitter that is @your_legends. Sorry.
I want people, if they're they have questions about the game or they have even critiques you guys should do this or that,
Tell us
because
how
there's other
much we
people
suck.
You
Yeah.
stink.
there's people that play Savage Worlds that might be like, hey, you guys forgot about this or that. I'm be happy to read any of that stuff or talk about it.
Or tell you how wrong you are.
Yeah.
You're very entitled to your wrong opinion.
Yeah.
Tweet
And
all
we
the
might wind up
outrageous.
discussing some of it in some of the episodes. So.
Yeah.
Tweet all the outrageous things you want Gunnar to say to NPCs they interact with.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah, we'll set up a poll on what Gunnar should be
What,
saying to
what Gunnar should do next.
Yeah, don't worry. Well, yeah.
It's gonna get real bad.
No, but stay tuned. There'll be more to come.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for
classy,
episode
San
2.
Diego.
Peace out.
See ya.
What?
Bye.